It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to M&M Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, we're going to talk about live streaming on YouTube. It'll kind of be a little bit focused on model railroading-ish, only that that's what I stream here on YouTube. But in general, it's just going to be about streaming. I've got some ideas of things to talk about, but in general, I'll probably just throw it out there and see what questions other people have. This idea came to me because Mark from M&M Rails did a video last week on, I think it was basically like creating interesting videos, or like how he edits and creates videos. And I thought I would take this opportunity to answer questions, share a little bit about my streaming, and you know, we'll see how this goes. We'll just kind of get into it and see. I'm gonna leave all the other stuff to the side. If we run out of things to talk about, I got other stuff, but for now, let's just stick with the streaming. And I will start off by asking my first question. And for those of you that are here now, I do ultimately think this is the most important question, so you'll get a little bit of a leg up if you're here to hear this. So my question to everybody is, what is the number one most important thing regarding streaming? So again, I'll ask that. I don't know if Dennis is answering that question or not with his response there, but maybe that's Dennis's answer. What is the number one most important thing about streaming? I do have a poll going. I'm looking over here just to see, do you live stream or want to live stream? At this point, 29% of the people that voted said they're currently streaming. 43% said they want to in the future. 29% of the people say they have no interest. but they're here to hang out. So we'll see how that goes. So Don says, good internet. Adam says, have an account. What else? I missed some comments somewhere. I saw somebody else say, internet. Ed says, so you had nothing planned, so you're going to make it up. Do I ever have anything planned? Dennis says, internet. Lynn says, number one, knowing ahead of time when there's a live stream. Dennis says, internet, being prepared, internet. Most important, hitting the unmute button. So, in my opinion, this whole stream, just so we're starting on the same page. All of this is my opinion. It is only my opinion. These are the things that any of my answers are my opinions only. As they say about opinions, you know, everybody's got one. Yeah, everything's made up and the points don't matter. Nathan Five Chimes says, have a regular schedule. Okay, so here's my answer. The number one most important thing regarding live streaming is you. It's the host. It's the person getting up and like doing this, because you know everything else is kind of an add-on to that. Without you, there is no stream. So in my opinion, the most important thing is you. And in my opinion, sometimes people start thinking about a lot of other things, and they kind of lose themselves, lose why they started streaming, and basically I think things can start kind of falling apart. Dennis says he's screwed then if it is about him. It doesn't necessarily mean you need a personality, Dennis. It just means, I'm just kidding. Dennis does a great job with Back on Track, and he's thinking about doing some of his own live streams as well. But if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of just go down and talk about what I want to talk about live streaming. To me, streaming is about solving problems in real time with people watching and commenting. That can be a lot for some people. And, you know, kind of, I guess, getting into what I was talking about before, only make the stream as complicated as you can comfortably fix issues. So again, make it about you. Don't make it about all of the complications. And I know in the model railroading live streaming world, I probably have more toys than anyone else doing model railroading live streams. So it's a little ironic that I'm the one saying, you know, don't make streams complex, but especially if you're starting out, just, you know, focus on yourself, focus on telling a good story, focus on engaging with, you know, with people. Skyrail says, for me, streaming is a great way to find all the gremlins on my layout. That is very true. That is very true as well. Dennis says, don't be toxic. It helps. Don says, oh, chat's starting to move. Don says, it's a no-brainer. And yes, when you hear somebody say it, it's definitely a no-brainer. You'd be surprised how many people fall down the rabbit hole. It seems the way to get a lot of watch hours. That's true, but I wouldn't do it just for that. You know, don't be a negative Nancy. It depends. Is it your character? Like, is the negativity a part of the character, or are you really a negative person? Because I would argue, you know, you could have fun with a negative Nancy persona, and maybe, you know, that might be fun. Yeah, the toys do kind of, yeah, I know. One piece of advice that I got when I first started streaming, I thought I would share with people because, I don't know, it's helped me out. But a wise man once told me, always have a bottle of water or something with you. So if things are starting to get a little hectic, or you just need a pause, or you just need to take a break for a second, you can just, and people will wait because they see you taking a drink. I don't know why it works. That brilliant piece of advice actually came from Sparky 107. He was, I think, pretty much the first model railroading live streamer that I started watching consistently. So yeah, I stole all of his good ideas, and that's the way it goes. And then I guess that leads right into my next thing is watch other streams, find out the things you like, the things you don't like, implement the things that work for your style of streaming. Don't just add everything because you think it looks cool. Make sure it fits what you're up to. Come up with creative solutions. Dennis from Otter Creek came up with a great solution because he doesn't like camera shake and camera movements. So Dennis came up with using a pointer, and that's kind of become his thing. It's spread to other people. Other people have stolen the idea because it is a good idea. But it was a creative solution to a problem and a very low cost solution at the end of the day. Reverse engineer ideas, ask the creator how they're doing things. My recommendation, though, is if you see a streamer doing something that you like or you want to mimic, don't like veer off track of the stream and start having your own conversation. Try and ask questions that are on topic-ish, and email me later or whatever if you have a question. We'll kind of talk through it. Don says, I'd rather make a video because I don't have that stage presence to live stream. Call me camera shy. And that, again, it comes down to knowing you. And the reality is that videos on YouTube tend to do better than live streams. There are certain styles of live streaming that's been getting a lot of attention lately, things like debates and stuff like that. But in our niche in particular, making videos actually kind of does better. And Andy, I know, but I get ideas from the questions section in Model Railroader magazine. Get them from wherever. So this next one is a don't do what I do, but do what others do, and dress for success, as they say. If you're wearing a brand, either make it your brand or a model railroading related brand. It should be related to your stream. Don't just wear like some branded shirt that has nothing to do with what you're streaming about. If you're not wearing something branded, wear something nice. And like, I think of somebody like Mike Pfeiffer, who's always, wearing a button-down shirt, always looks presentable in his videos. And if you really want to establish yourself, I think consistency is good. I think somebody mentioned that earlier about the time of your streams, but I think it applies to a lot of different areas of streaming, in that the more consistent, the better. And, just calling out like my shirt as well, like, this isn't my brand. This is a model railroading brand. This is the podcast that Don and, Ray does regularly, and Don is a co-host for the Operations series. but you know, we all kind of support each other as well. And I think that is one of the big things that drew me to this niche, was all of the camaraderie. And like, we're not, 99% of us aren't competing against each other. I'll help people, people will help me, blah, 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 blah. So my dad's asking, did your schooling help you? So if people don't know, I actually ended up going to college for acting, performing. Decided that I liked working backstage a lot more than I liked being on stage. And I ended up doing a lot more tech type stuff than doing in front of the camera stuff. And when I started this stream, I thought, I have an itch on my shoulder. I don't know what's going on. When I started this stream for the first, or not this stream, when I started this channel, a lot of my videos didn't have me in them. I was talking, but like my face, like I wasn't in them. But then Benny from Creative Rails asked me to cover for him on a live stream, and I kind of just took the leap. So I would say it's not so much my schooling that helped me as much as it is my interest in technology and learning. And yeah, just kind of trying new things and just sort of, keep going. I like the idea of picking a project, live streaming the entirety of it to its conclusion. I wouldn't disagree. Besides a decent camera, a decent sounding microphone makes a lot of difference. So let's talk about that for a second. And if I miss your question, like, we might have to come back to it later. Sorry, I'm laughing at this. Yeah, it is something very, very important, is that you're wearing shorts and safety shoes whenever you're in the model railroading space, whatever. So we're talking about cameras and audio, and in my opinion, yes, the camera's important. You've got to have like an image to live stream, but audio is significantly more important than video. People will watch, quote, watch a video if the audio is really good and the video is only okay. If you're telling a good story, people will not watch a video, no matter what the content is, if the audio is terrible. So you can have the best looking video in the world, but if your audio is bad, it's non-watchable. And I don't think that's just my opinion. I think I don't know. I should probably do actual research on it, but yeah, invest in microphones first. Absolutely, hands down. One more thing I'll say on microphones while we're there that I kind of have later in my list. If you are doing a live stream with guests, absolutely, 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 everybody must wear headphones. Don't do live streams with guests where people aren't wearing headphones. It is the most annoying thing in the world when you're trying to listen to two people have a conversation and there's feedback or there's problems because, somebody's not wearing headphones or they can't figure things out or whatever. Let me get into two more things. I see questions, I'll try and remember some of them. We might need people to ask them again, but hopefully I'll remember some of them as we go. I start setting up my live stream an hour and a half before my scheduled stream time is going to start. So I am down here at 7:30, setting everything up, the cameras, the audio, the lighting, everything. Some days takes 5 minutes and I'm done. Some days it's 9 o'clock and I am struggling to get everything set up before the stream starts. If you live stream and you have a problem during one live stream, make sure you take the time to fix it before the next live stream. For example, if you do a group stream and you're having audio issues with people talking, set up time to test your audio and fix it. Yeah, so this, pay attention to the chat. This comes back, I think, a little bit to the style that you're streaming, but also like who you are, right? I'm fortunate, I guess. I don't know a good word for it. But over time, I developed an okay ability to read the chat and keep talking at the same time. Part of that is my setup, though. Part of it is that I've made it very, very easy for me to see and read the chat while I am talking. And I can show you that in a little bit. ATLP would rather have plugged in internet and not wireless. Wireless is always iffy. 100%. Yeah. There are things, obviously there are things that are important. You have to have stable internet. You have to have some camera and some microphone. Yes, if you're plugged in, it's a lot better. The reality is, there are tons of YouTubers out there that make really good content with just their iPhones. Some of my live streams that are, mostly just me using my iPhone are some of my live streams with the most views, right? So like going to Amherst, I'm basically just using my iPhone on cellular to live stream. So you don't necessarily need any of this stuff that I'm going to show you in a second to do a really good live stream. If you have, an iPhone, and I would argue some sort of method of holding it so you're not like things aren't like crazy. But yeah, I mean, really almost since the iPhone 7, pretty much the iPhone would work. I just got the iPhone 17 Pro. I mean, that thing is insane how good it is, just like out of the box. Bill Bly is asking, do you test before streaming? If so, what? Yes. So I test everything before streaming. Before today's stream, actually this afternoon, I updated the software that I used to stream. When I tried turning it on, I got a bunch of error messages. I had to go in and update a bunch of the plugins. I got all of that set up, and then I tested my Stream Deck, which is what I used to switch the camera views, and that wasn't working, and I had to update that. So I test everything. I go through all my cameras, make sure all my cameras work. I go through my microphone, I make sure my microphone works. I go through all my lighting, make sure all my lighting is working, and once I get it all set up, I don't touch it. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the Android phones, but they are absolutely at that same level. So my recommendation, I'm not a huge fan of the Mevo Start. The Mevo Start requires the use of the app on your phone. My understanding the last time I researched it, there's no way around that. You can't use RTSP, you can't use NDI, you can't use any other wireless protocols except for what they require that you use. That said, they're not a bad out-of-the-box solution if they meet your needs. If you're okay using an iPhone to switch your camera views, it's a viable solution. I am not a big fan of touchscreens. I've talked about it with my model railroading a bit. With the streaming, same thing. I want actual buttons to push. And I know I'm saying that, and like behind me, there's all these tablets for, you know, switch machines. Switch machines is different, right? If you push a button and you miss it and something doesn't happen, it's not a big deal. But when I'm streaming or when I have my throttle, I really want a hard, you know, a hard button to push to change change things. All right, so a lot of what I know about the Mevo Start comes from Sparky because he has them. What's his name? Chris up in Canada also has them. So a lot of what I know is from them. Some of what I've known is the research that I've done. The way you get the Mevo Cam into OBS is you use the app. The Mevo Cams come into the app sends them to OBS, and then OBS sends them out. So you're switching on your phone and on OBS. So yeah, and Dennis, I mean, it's not just you. It's not just you. I didn't have the option until Clearwave came to town and installed a new underground system. Yeah. I have fiber. I'm fortunate. It works. A couple other things. Let me get back to my list for a second. Something that happens a lot during a stream, and I am very, very guilty of it, is I'll be streaming and I'll be showing the wrong camera because I'm, you know, looking somewhere else. I highly recommend that you have a confidence monitor. Basically, what a confidence monitor is it is a view of what you are, you know, sending. So, like if you're using StreamYard, right? StreamYard has a confidence monitor. You see, you know, the screen so that you know what you're sending out. And Roy is correct. Roy is correct. This is a comment a little bit later, but when you add a second camera, things don't get twice as difficult, they get 3 times as difficult. Because you don't just have to keep track of the 2 cameras, you have to keep track of what both cameras are pointing at and which camera you are using. So it actually gets, it doesn't just double the difficulty. It kind of makes it harder. And yeah, keeping things in view is tough as well. I'll show in a second my setup of my confidence monitor. The other thing that I want to say about monitoring stuff is I keep a window up onto the side. Don, that's really good internet, the 1K. We got to get you streaming, Don. I keep a YouTube window up over on the side over there, and it's got the YouTube stream playing. It's actually paused, but it's the window that tells me what YouTube's receiving. So I have a confidence monitor here so I can see what you guys are seeing, right? So like when I bring up a comment, Don isn't home enough to stream apparently, because Don, I think, is up in Rhode Island right now. But like when I press that comment, I'm reading that comment right there in front of me on the confidence monitor, so I see what's happening. Over here, I've got the YouTube stream up, so I know that I'm actually streaming. I'm going to give him a hard time. I won't call it out who it is. There was a guy who streams regularly who showed up late one night to his own stream, and it was because he forgot to hit go live. And he didn't realize that he wasn't live because he didn't have another thing. So, do you need multiple monitors? No. Do you need multiple cameras? No. Do you need any of the stuff that I have? No. It helps? Kinda? Sorta? One thing we haven't talked about is lighting. Lighting. I would argue lighting is significantly more important than your camera. Not as important as audio. So audio's at the top, then lighting, then see, I even forgot what it's called. Camera, down at the bottom. A bad camera with good lighting, it fixes everything. Most cameras fall apart in low light. That's the reality of it. Take a crappy camera, put a ton of light on it, you now have a good image. It's just the way it is. Don says, or not Don, Ray. I can't keep you straight. You look the same to me, so I don't know. Ray says, I use my iPhone 4 and Don uses his AARP flip phone. If it works. Let me take a little bit of a break from my list of things here, and I'll show you a little bit about what I got going on. I absolutely do use the Stream Deck. We'll get to that in one moment. I'm going to show you my setup over here before we get to that. So, do I have wireless cameras? Yes. My wireless cameras are on my iPhones. I use my iPhone. I use a protocol called NDI by NewerTech. You don't need to use NDI. It just works extremely well with OBS. OBS is the software that I use for streaming. You don't need to use OBS. Blah, 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 blah. Most iPhones, you can use NDI. There are other wireless protocols and other apps that you can use your iPhone to wirelessly bring it into your computer to live stream. So OBS is free and it is unbelievably feature filled. The amount of effort that goes into it to keep building on it and adding new plugins, it's really pretty incredible. So this here is a wireless iPhone, right? So this is the setup you guys have seen, right? I can sit here with my iPhone. It's a little dark though, right? So yes, it's an iPhone. It's an iPhone 15. The quality though is not great, and I keep bumping the camera with the table, so I moved the table away from the camera. But I have a little light up here, and if I turn the light on, magically everything looks better. OBS now has a free feature to use iPhone. Yeah, I forget what it's called. Teleport? No, I'm not sure. Dennis says, I'm looking for one or more in the 350 range that works well with OBS. We can talk about specific recommendations another time. But yeah, 350 should get you some decent cameras, kind of ish. this is wireless, right? So what I guess why don't we look at this setup, right? Because if you notice, right, like I'm bringing up comments, so I'm no longer at the computer, right? So here, let's do this, right? So I'm sitting back here, right? You can kind of see me in the bottom left corner. So I'm sitting farther back, and I can bring up comments from over here. How in the heck, what in the world is going on over there? A little bit of a complicated setup, kinda, sorta. It's an iPhone. Here's the setup. So this is another iPhone wirelessly connected, right? So here's the iPhone. I've got it on a stand, right? Here's the light just mounted on top of the iPhone, and it's over the table. And then how I'm bringing up comments, I've got an iPad right here that's got my list of comments. And what Darren at CLL is talking about is exactly what I'm using. I'm using Social Stream from Steve Seguin, and that is what is making this view. Now, one of the things that I do for all of my cameras, right? So here's this camera, right? And you see this little tripod right here, right? So what I can do is I can take this camera off the one tripod and mount it to this tripod in a matter of seconds. And then now I've got the camera in a new location. And because it's a wireless camera, I can take it and I can just move it over here if I want, and then I can, you know, adjust the view a little bit, and then I can go to that camera. So I like using wireless cameras for a lot of stuff. So the reason I have two iPhones is because the new iPhones just came out and I haven't turned in the old phone. Roy, very good observation, and that was going to be my next point. Do you really need wireless cameras? Well, when I live stream, even my wireless cameras, I plug into power. So if you're going to plug your camera into power, does it matter if it's wireless? Why not just take a long cable and you can move the camera anywhere you want, and I've got a nice, you know, long cable, and I could make the cable longer if I wanted. Do you need wireless cameras? I would argue that in our world, wireless cameras aren't as important necessarily, but you know they're fun. Yeah, the blue light special, exactly. So Roy was asking about the Stream Deck, and I'll talk a little bit about all of this stuff in a second, but talk about this for right now. This is what I use to switch everything, and I guess what I should do is let's see. Sorry, Dennis, you'll have to deal with the shakiness for a second. We'll try and keep it as steady as possible. So here's the Stream Deck. Everything is very descriptive. I've got all of the things labeled. I've got all the camera views set up here, you know, so I know what's what. And you notice I do have two of them. I don't use the top one very much. The top one has a mute mic button on it. It's where my start and stop for the stream is. the Stream Deck's got a bunch of other stuff on it. I've got my, my thank you screen on it. Yes, B&H loves me, and I love B&H as well. So yeah, like I've tried a lot of different things. What I'm actually using on my iPhone, you could connect via USB cable to your computer. So if you're using an iPhone and you're gonna leave it powered while you're streaming, now the only time you might not have it tethered to the wall is if you're doing what they call IRL, what is it, in real life or whatever, where people are walking around on the street. But even then, most people that do that will either be wearing a backpack or a fanny pack or something that has a battery pack in it, and they will be charging their iPhone with a cable as they walk around with a battery pack. So wireless is a little bit of a misnomer. At some point it was all, yeah, so that's that. Let's look at this real quick. Oh, one comment I do want to make first too. I hate this view. There's so much junk in this view that there's just too many things going on. So if you're gonna put the camera on something, my recommendation is, like, put the camera on what you're like working on, and then like switch to a different camera view, and then change what the camera is seeing, and then go back to it or something. But like zoom in. Okay, so let's real quick, we'll talk about some of the camera views, then we'll look at the screens that I have. Face cam. This is my main camera. Actually, this is a good time to show this. I'll just show this right now. So this is my main camera. What I am looking at right now, I am looking at, on the bottom right here, that's what's getting sent out to the outside world. And on the left here is the chat. So when I click on the chat, I can read it right there. So it looks like I'm talking to the camera, because the camera is right in front of me. So this is a teleprompter. This is basically just a monitor, and I can put whatever I want onto the, onto it. You'll notice I have a microphone here as well. This is kind of a backup microphone. If I need it, it's there. Get a lot more noise with this microphone. I'm wearing a lav microphone. It allows me to like turn around and not have the audio change, which was something that happened a lot in my earlier live streams, and people kept giving me a lot of feedback on that. So here's the other screen, and I don't know, I can't quite get back far enough to see it. So Dennis, oh, hold on. See, again, like if you have like a little quick, right? So like this one just came off. I'm gonna attach it to this, and this will give me a little bit more flexibility on the camera position. So we'll just set this up. We'll raise this up, and we'll raise it up more because I can and I would like to. Okay, so there we go. Now we're gonna, little better view. So this is basically where I'm standing right now, right? So if I can bring up the base camera, right? So here's the camera that's the big view, right? Is right here. So you're looking at what I would see. So this is my confidence monitor and the chat. Yeah, I do, Ken. I have always, I always have. Who's prompter? I believe it's GlideCam. And this is just a like $300 10-inch monitor or something. So that's the prompter. So the prompter's here. Over here, so right now over here I've got my notes. I also have let's see, yeah, over here I also have the chat again. So if I need to type something into the chat, I have to type it in over here. I can't type it in over here, so I have to type it in over here. OBS is down here on the bottom. I keep it close just in case I need it, but generally everything that I need to do, I can do from the, where is it? The Stream Deck over here in the little bottom corner here. And then over here on the right, like I was saying, this is the YouTube window, so that I know, and it says right here, excellent condition, which you probably can't see very well. But this is how I know whether I'm streaming or not. So give us brands and models. Generic widescreen monitor, I think I paid like $175 for it on Amazon. It is not a color correct monitor. It is a cheap office monitor, and I got this because I'm not doing anything on it that I need accurate colors. I do check my stream and the colors and stuff using a different monitor, but this is just a cheap whatever thing. The teleprompter, I went through many different teleprompters until I got this one. I think the teleprompter itself was like $300 and the monitor was like $200 or so. This is not like an all-in-one like the Elgato prompter. I don't like that style. I wanted something big. I think this is a 12-inch prompter if I'm not mistaken. So it's larger than the average one. But it gives me more real estate, right? So that I can see and read the chat easily, because that was kind of important to me. Yeah, so small price at $10,000. I built this over a long time, right? So for people that don't know, I was in the AV live events industry right up until the Showstopper. Once the Showstopper hit, I realized that a lot of stuff was going to go online. So I took a lot of the stuff I had laying around at home. The first face camera I had was a 12-year-old Canon camera. And I had a Hero 5 as another camera, and then I had my iPhone. So it was all things that like I had sitting around at the time. So I've kind of, built up over time all the various, equipment to kind of get to this place. So I was talking a second ago about like the camera views, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show this really well or not. Let's see. So yeah, I don't know how well you can see that, but so this again, that's my main face camera, right? So that's this view here, right? And that view doesn't move. This is a very similar view, but it's this camera up here. And this is a GoPro Hero 9. I have two GoPro Hero 9s. This is a Hero 9, and that's a Hero 9. GoPros are okay for live streaming. They're not great. I'm using the HDMI out, so you have to buy the media mod on top of, the camera, and then you have to buy an HDMI input card on top of the camera and the media mod. So it does add up, but you get a really great wide view, right? So this is the wide view, this is the tight view, the face view, and then I've got the over-desk view. The over-desk is a $280 camcorder that's got what's called clean HDMI out, so you don't see any of the menus on it. So it just shows the image, no text or no battery or any of that kind of stuff. And I've got an HDMI capture card. So this is a, I don't know, it's a Panasonic. Dennis is gonna hate this view. It's a Panasonic camcorder, 1080p, and it's just mounted, up over the desk, right? So it's right here. So the camera, if you notice, just out of view of the other camera, right? So like all of the lighting and everything, right? I have 1, 2, 3 lights on my face. So when I'm standing right here, I'm lit up. But if you notice, when I move into the center of the room, I'm no longer lit up. So that is, that's set up for this, this position basically, or this position. It's not set up for, being in the center of the room. It's kind of dark, but you can see I've got lights specifically on the layout. I don't have lights in the room. It seems to me if you can't multitask, one should probably not stream. One should probably not have this setup. I know you know this, but there's no such thing as multitasking. Your task switching very quickly. Some people are good at task switching. Some people aren't. Bernard, and I mentioned this before, all of my cameras during all of my live streams are always plugged into power. Always. Even if my iPhones are at 100%, I just plug them into power. They do get nice and hot. Sometimes they'll shut down. I do try and keep it really cold in here. But, you don't need all these cameras. The cameras I have, though, are face cam, tight shot, basically, or it's actually called it's more of like a 3/4. No, it's not a 3/4. It's, I don't know what it would be called. But I have a face shot. I have a wide shot here. I have the overhead shot that shows the whole room. I've got these NDI cameras set up to show, whatever. And then I've got the over-desk camera. I also have, I don't know, Dennis, are you still here talking about the Mevo cameras? I also have a bunch of layout cameras. The layout cameras that I have, these are all coming into OBS via RTSP. These cameras are not the best cameras in the world, but they work fine. You'll notice, like, if there's fast movement, it's very steppy. It's a very low frame rate. The other thing, and I can't show you because I don't have a way to show you right now, there's a big delay. So, why do streams eat so much of your iPad's battery? Because there's a lot of movement, a lot of things moving around, a lot of things changing. It's about 15 frames per second. It's 1080p at, I believe, 15 frames a second. The protocol is something called RTSP, I forget what it's called. RTS protocol, real-time streaming protocol, I think is what it's called. They're basically security cameras. I would not buy a wireless camera that is not RTSP compatible. Instead of the Mevos, there is a cheaper camera, which is basically a Mevo knockoff, that has RTSP in addition to its own proprietary setup. So instead of the Mevo cameras, I would buy this knockoff camera, and then you have the option to either use it from the app, or you can use RTSP and bring the camera, you know, right into OBS. Yeah, so you are correct. 15 frames a second won't cover a fast-moving camera, but it will cover a slower-moving camera. I knew Dennis was going to ask me, and I didn't have it ready, which I probably should have. eMeet Stream Cam. And they have two versions, I believe. They have a newer version and an older version. You just need to check, like, here's Gen 2 version. So I was thinking about getting these cameras. I ended up not getting the cameras just because cost-wise I ended up spending instead of $190 a camera, I ended up spending $25 a camera. So 15's low. Things are gonna look steppy, but if you're just doing sort of static shots, or if you just want to like show somebody something, it's not bad. Like, it's yeah, at the speed that I run my trains at, it's okay-ish, but curious how many frames per second. So this is 60 frames per second. I believe this and this are 60 frames per second. These, I believe, are 30 frames a second. This is definitely 30 frames a second because it's a pretty cheap camera and it doesn't go over 30 frames a second. 30 is decent. 60 is much better for fast motion. When you are streaming, no, oh, sorry, no, Scott, just, so I have 15 cameras around my layout, right? So 1, 2, 3, oh, that's actually missed 3, whatever. But there's, and that one's not coming up for some reason. Here's another one. So like, I have all these cameras around the layout. Some of them don't seem to be working right now. These are all 15 frames a second. So the intention with these was I was thinking I would start like live streaming, you know, live streaming the layout, and that I would use those. 120 frames per second is tough. If, well, I didn't count all of them. I have those cameras up there, which are the overhead, the G and the O scale. I froze up. No way. I don't know. So talking about frames per second. Oh, the freezing up was the camera's never loaded. It wasn't that I froze up. It's that the cameras just didn't come on at all. But I have more than 15 cameras around the layout. Anyway, yeah, 15-ish, right? Something can come up. When you're live streaming, yes, it's great if you can live stream at 4K 60. It's great. How many people that are watching your stream are going to be watching it in 4K 60? In our niche, maybe one. So you also got to kind of know your audience, know who you're streaming to. and set your own expectations. Like, I could spend thousands of dollars to get 4K 60 cameras for everything, right? And when I say thousands of dollars, like $1,000 per camera to get 4K 60. But, you know, to get that camera view, it cost me 25 bucks. Is it great? No. Does it get the point across? Yes. You know, even this face cam. So let's see. Yeah, the face cam is the most expensive camera I have in this setup. I believe it's $600. It's a Canon M52. So if someone wants to look that up, I'm not sure. I think it's like $600. So that's $600 is the most expensive camera I have. Could I buy more expensive cameras? Sure. But there's no point. It's kind of like, you know, do I need to buy something more than just using my iPhone? No. It is very likely that your iPhone is gonna be 99% good enough. You know, webcams, right? I think New Frienders just talking about using his Logitech webcam. 99% of the time, it's fine. If you have enough light, a webcam looks great, looks fantastic. If you're trying to catch an Amtrak on the Northeast Corridor flying by at 100 miles per hour, yeah, it doesn't. You know, you need. You know, you need a lot. You need a lot more. So I think that's part of streaming. Part of why I have so much stuff is because I didn't buy the most expensive stuff. I'm using GoPro Hero 9s. How long ago did the GoPro Hero 9 came out? Years ago. Years ago. The monitor that I'm using, the widescreen monitor, was like 175 bucks. You know, they're probably, you know, you could spend $1,000 on one if you wanted to, but, you know, most of the things that I have, most of the cameras serve the purpose. I make them look as good as I can using lighting by having decent audio. And I don't know, it works for me. I think it's fine. I mean, you know, I'm not pulling down 100 viewers on my live streams. Maybe if I was pulling down 100 viewers, I'd do more. Lynn just bought a new mic to complement his webcam. I'm curious to hear how it sounds, actually, because that'll be a huge improvement. So one final thought on all of this, and then I do need to go. I'm leaving for M&M Rails, which is in Minnesota, at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and I still need to pack and get ready and clean all this up and all that stuff. So I do need to cut this off. But the last thing I want to say is all of this stuff, when you hit go live, all of this stuff needs to go away. It needs to disappear. Your audience doesn't give a damn about all your expensive gadgets. All they want to see is, you know, what you're working on, what story, you know, you're telling. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So you figured everything out. You got everything working. You tested it. It's all going fine. You hit live. Forget about it. Just like have a conversation. You know, do your thing. People will show up. People won't show up. I love this niche. I think it's a lot of fun. I love sharing this hobby. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.